Why do me and him need to partner to help out to do what? So he just got a pardon by President Trump. I personally know the woman who got him the pardon.
If his goal is to sell records and your goal is to help the youth, why wouldn't you come together and try and do both?
They're not gonna let a black rapper help the youth. That's why they got somebody like him on stage for the youth to follow.
You ever see someone walk out of a podcast mid-conversation and think it was just drama? Think deeper. Sometimes it's the move. When Charleston White stormed off a show with Steiny during a heated debate about NBA YoungBoy, what you witnessed wasn't only a blow-up. It was a power play. Today, I'm unpacking why that exit mattered more than the question that triggered it, and what it signals in the modern creator-artist world.
And so I used to work with a lot of juvenile delinquents and different kids, and that's how I became familiar with it.
But how can you say something like that and expect to be treated like a VIP?
I don't expect to be treated like things.
So why is everybody saying that?
Charleston didn't just drop by for fun. He stepped into that studio already carrying heat. In the prior weeks, he'd been publicly critical of NBA YoungBoy's tour and reputation, raising questions about backstage access, fans' behavior, and the artist's broader ecosystem. At the same time, YoungBoy's MASA tour was rolling full speed, massive, momentum-heavy, and under heavy public microscope. So when Charleston took the seat opposite Steiny, he wasn't entering a calm chat. He entered a charged room where access, pressure, and audience expectation collided.
Charleston White just crashed out and walked off a podcast during an NBA YoungBoy debate that got really heated. So he was on a podcast with Steiny from the Nelk Boys. And, this was like a weird dynamic because Charleston White obviously got paid to be on this podcast to give his opinions.
Now, let's look at the playing field. Steiny, known to have ties with YoungBoy's camp, brought in Charleston for likely two reasons. One, the headline potential of a dismissive take on a top tour. Two, the optics of the host who can lean both creator and insider. But here's the thing, when a guest is used to autonomously speaking to an audience, not with a host, the dynamic flips. Charleston treats the mic like a broadcast. Steiny treats it like a setup. That mismatch? It always breeds friction.
Cause I thought he was angry or crying and whining, and at the time he had a lot of video where he beat up his girlfriend in the hallway, dragged her down the hallway. He had mama issues, so I said, man, this the young to beat up his mama, his sister, and his girlfriend.
Midway through the interview, Steiny shifts tone. What starts as probing becomes protective. Defending access, emphasizing relationships, steering the narrative subtly. The questions sharpen: why'd you show up? What happened backstage? Are you being fair? Each time Charleston tries to answer, the microphone doesn't stay steady, it shifts. That's a host signaling they're also part of the story, and Charleston recognized it. That's when the tone grays out.
Strange.
What the What the is that?
Strange is good, nephew. You shouldn't be do podcasting.
Why?
But you should. You're a very likable guy, but you don't have on-screen charisma.
What the are you saying, bro? That is crazy as hell.
The guest senses the question isn't just information, it's positioning. Then, the walk-off. Not a rage quit, a calculated egress. Charleston stands, leaves room, returns later to finish, but the moment changes the energy. By stepping away, he resets the frame. I will not participate in this version of the conversation. The camera loves this kind of moment, a guest rebelling against the format. For creators and viewers, that's not just drama. It's meta-commentary on who controls the mic and who doesn't.
So don't try to sit here and act like because you want to go to his concert. Come on, man. Too real for that. You just...
I'm not, bro. You're...
Man, I don't want to do this shit no more. Nigga, you bullshit. You ain't finna get me on camera and play like I'm wrong.
Wait.
Why did this explode across YouTube so fast? Timing. YoungBoy's tour, creator culture, short-form attention spans, a controversial guest, a host with a relationship, a high-stakes live moment, perfect clip currency, shorts, reels, memes. The algorithm feasts on tension plus moment of exit.
Some people kick you out.
Why you believe what people say?
I'm asking you.
That's the first thing a man do. A man don't believe nothing people say.
That's true.
So don't question me about what no say.
And because the MASA tour is in full view, any ripple near it gets magnified. This clip didn't just ride the wave, it was the wave. So who won? Depends on your lens. For Steiny, he captured an unforgettable moment, a spike in views, and a headline.
But Steiny is, I guess, friends with NBA YoungBoy's manager, so he's friends with the NBA YoungBoy camp. So he brings on Charleston White, like the week that Charleston White has been like going off on NBA YoungBoy, and then he proceeds to ask Charleston White about YoungBoy.
But if guests feel the room is rigged or the relationship trumps the conversation, you might lose authenticity. For Charleston, he reaffirmed his brand. He speaks his mind. He won't be boxed in. He'll walk when the optics don't match the truth. But he also risked burning a door. That tension is the modern currency. Risk plus control. What happens next? Guests and hosts will study this. Will future podcast guests check the host's track record on access versus candor? Will hosts design rooms where narrative control is clear?
And then he gets too scared to try to like reel Charleston White in or change Charleston White's mind or get Charleston White not to speak about YoungBoy after asking him a question about YoungBoy.
We're entering a phase where the slide between friendly chat and brand defense is razor thin. If creators want both access and truth, they'll have to architect setups differently or watch moments like this define the paradigm. Bottom line, the loudest sentence in modern media might be the one unsaid.
What you're in the ski, so you're making me think about my close friend Alex YB. What happened? Because I saw some shit where you pulled up.
Oh, you talking about
Did you get kicked out?
You talking about Kentrail?
Did you get kicked out of the
Fuck
YB
no, I
concert?
didn't get kicked out. Hell no, I didn't get kicked out.
So what
I never
happened
went
with
in.
that?
Charleston chose to walk out rather than get boxed in. Steiny chose to let it blow up rather than contain it. And we watched. That interplay says more about creator economics, tour marketing, and the mic you're handed than we often realize.
So I was invited by his camp in him. So me and YB have had a mutual understanding. So he put me in a song like 3 years ago. He said, "Tell Charleston White something. I was raised wrong." So up until that point, I used to be a NBA YoungBoy basher.
So here's what to think about. Are you watching someone talk or someone control the talk? Because the exit might be the real headline.
Question, and think long and hard about this. Long and hard about this. Have you ever seen a Charleston White interview where the interviewer is being combative that went well? Think long and hard. No, it doesn't exist, okay? The interviews that I've seen where it went haywire is usually when an interviewer is trying to overtalk, interrupt, or push back on Charleston White.
Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown useful, hit like, subscribe, and check out the next video where we explore how another creator used silence as their biggest statement of all.